Listen closely, because this isn't just jokes and it's not just late night laughs. This is the moment Hollywood snapped, pulled back the velvet curtain, and turned a carefully polished fairy tale into a public spectacle. 2 microphones, 2 comedians, one narrative that finally cracked on national television.
Hey, what's this girl, Meghan Markle? Seemed like a nice lady. Just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery?
You see the interview last night? Oprah returned with Meghan and Harry in what will surely go down in history as the most shocking gender reveal party of all time.
This is so amazing. So many of you here to see me, huh? I feel like Meghan Markle. This is dope.
Lot going on to the news. My God, it's so crazy out there. What's going on with Meghan Markle? She thinks that everybody is just stupid. Like we can't see that she is manipulating his dumb husband.
Prince Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest selling nonfiction book of all time. They're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's
They're so racist. They're so racist. Some of that he went through was not racism. It was just some in-law. Sometimes it's just some in-law.
Everyone thinks marrying a prince is like a fairy tale. Turns out it's not. Meghan Markle said that when she joined the royal family, they took away her passport, driver's license, and keys. Welcome to the royal family. Please remove your belt and get ready for a cavity search. And her husband, Harry, made a number of startling accusations.
This is so amazing. So many of you here to see me, huh? I feel like Meghan Markle. This is dope.
Because even black people want to know.
So well done. So brilliant. It's like between that and the South Park thing, Emily, it's like the comedians they do a better job of bringing home someone's stupid, narcissistic, woke BS.
The biggest addiction in America is attention. We are addicted to attention. Can't get enough attention. We used to want love. Now we just want likes. Posting up pathetic pictures.
When Chris Rock walked onto that Netflix stage, somewhere in Montecito, a Wi-Fi router should have been unplugged and a suitcase quietly packed. Because what followed wasn't comedy, it was open season. The kind of roast that doesn't just sting, it lingers. And just when you thought it was over, Jimmy Kimmel was already backstage, smiling, waiting, sharpening his words like knives. By the time Hollywood finished, the tiara had slipped, the glass slipper cracked, and the fairy tale gone. This wasn't an accident. This was a reckoning. The room buzzed with that nervous energy you feel right before something explosive happens. Everyone knew Rock's return mattered. This was his first big moment after the Oscar slap. The world leaned in, and instead of playing it safe, he aimed straight at the elephant in the room, Meghan Markle. Not subtly, not politely. Direct, unapologetic, and devastatingly precise. The laughter came fast, but beneath it was recognition. That sound people make when someone finally says what they've been whispering.
React to it. This is news making headlines today as yes, that's not racist. Meghan Markle, don't you dare call the royals racist. Oh man, this bit.
And before anyone could blink, the setup was complete. This wasn't random mockery. This was a surgical takedown of a story that had dominated headlines for years. A story about victimhood, injustice, and endless complaints told from the comfort of mansions, private jets, and multi-million-dollar deals. Rock wasn't mocking pain, he was mocking contradiction. And that's what made it lethal. March 2023. Netflix. Baltimore's Hippodrome Theater. Millions watching live. Rock didn't circle the target, he hit it dead center. He questioned the now infamous I didn't know routine. The idea that someone could marry into one of the most famous families on earth and be shocked by attention, tradition, drama. He paused just long enough for the audience to catch up, then dropped the line that detonated the room. The laughter wasn't polite, it was explosive.
All the news media ran with, she says there's a racist in the royal family, and she never went out to correct them. Will she come out to correct herself? Because she also said the royal family's racist because there's been debates about what title little Archie's going to get. And she suggested that's because she's half black and Archie's 1/4 black. And that was her other charge of racism. And now we get the update today via the Daily Mail. Harry and Meghan have christened their daughter Princess Lilibet Diana, and they have updated the website, or will now be updating the website to call little Archie Prince Archie.
The jokes landed because they weren't just jokes, they were mirrors. Rock dragged the Oprah interview back into the spotlight. That sacred television moment from 2021 when Meghan, seated beside Prince Harry, dropped allegations that shook the monarchy. Accusations of racism, of cruelty, of concern over baby Archie's skin color. For years, that interview had been treated like holy scripture, untouchable. Rock didn't touch it, he flipped it. He pointed out what millions were thinking, but terrified to say, curiosity about a baby's appearance isn't some sinister plot. It's human. It happens everywhere, in every family, every culture. The crowd erupted not because it was cruel, but because it was obvious. And once obvious is spoken out loud, the spell breaks.
It's like marrying into the Budweiser family and going, they drink a lot.
That's when the room lost it. Rock leaned harder, calling out the privilege, the lottery win of marrying a prince, the relentless complaints wrapped in designer labels. He painted the picture of someone who had everything and still wanted applause for suffering. And suddenly, the narrative that had been spoon-fed for years started wobbling. People weren't just laughing anymore, they were nodding. Then came the knockout comparison, the kind that sticks in your brain long after the applause fades, the kind that turns a carefully curated image into a punchline. The laughter wasn't just loud, it was freeing, like a pressure valve finally released.
It was just some in-law. So she's complaining, I'm like, what the is she talking about? Oprah, they're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby was gonna be. They're so racist, they wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby goes.
Social media went nuclear. Clips flew everywhere. Comment sections filled with variations of the same thought. Wait, yeah, that actually makes sense. And here's the twist. This all aired on Netflix, the very platform that had paid Meghan and Harry millions to tell their side of the story. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Royal commentators whispered about how badly this must sting. The platform that funded the narrative had just broadcast its public dismantling.
That's what triggered into his bit on Meghan. He did a couple other little bits in between, but here's when Meghan comes into play. Oh, sorry, wait, it's this clip.
Everybody trying to be a victim. Like, what's this girl, Meghan Markle? Seemed like a nice lady.
She did.
Just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery?
No, I added those images.
Light skin lottery and still going on complaining. Acting all dumb like she don't know nothing. Going on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these motherfuckers?
This is the biggest complaint she gets. You didn't Google these mother effers? How do you not Google these people? How do you not know the history of the royal family? And he's gonna lay into them even further.
But if anyone thought that was the end, they underestimated Hollywood's memory. Because while Rock delivered the body blow, Jimmy Kimmel had been circling for years. Rewind to March 2021. The Oprah interview had just dropped. The world was stunned. Media outlets tread carefully, afraid of backlash. Kimmel? He didn't tiptoe, he sprinted. Night after night, he chipped away at the story, not with rage, but with ridicule. He called it the most shocking gender reveal party of all time. The audience howled. Then he feigned sincerity, acknowledging claims of being silenced. The room went quiet. And then, snap, the punchline hit. The contradiction was laid bare and laughter roared back louder than before. Kimmel didn't shout accusations. He asked questions with jokes sharp enough to cut through PR spin. Why flee one country over racism only to land in another that's been wrestling with it for centuries? He joked about royal genetics, about centuries of inbreeding, about misplaced concerns. It was savage, and the crowd loved it because it felt honest. From there, it snowballed. Harry's memoir dropped. Intimate details spilled everywhere, and Kimmel pounced, turning oversharing into satire so brutal it went viral within hours. Suddenly, princes weren't tragic heroes, they were late-night material. The illusion of untouchability was gone. By this point, something had changed. The audience wasn't defensive anymore. The benefit of the doubt had evaporated. Comedians across America sensed it. The tide had turned. And when jokes land without backlash, that tells you everything. This wasn't bullying, this was culture shifting in real time. two of the most powerful comedic voices in America independently landed on the same conclusion, the story didn't add up anymore. The victim narrative had worn thin, and once comedy exposes a contradiction, there's no stitching it back together. And right there, between the laughter, the gasps, and the viral clips, Meghan Markle's carefully constructed image took its hardest hit yet. Not from tabloids, not from palace leaks, but from a stage, a microphone, and millions of people laughing at the same realization. All right, buckle up, because this is where the fallout turns vicious. The jokes didn't fade. They metastasized. What started as laughter turned into permission for the public to finally say, something here feels off. And once that door opened, it never closed again. Because here's the dirty little secret no glossy magazine cover wants to admit, Hollywood didn't turn on Meghan and Harry overnight. It got tired, exhausted, burned out by a narrative that demanded sympathy while cashing checks the size of small countries. Chris Rock didn't create the backlash, he validated it. Jimmy Kimmel didn't start the ridicule, he normalized it. And once comedy normalizes criticism, that's when reputations start bleeding. Think about it. For years, questioning the Sussex story felt radioactive. Say the wrong thing and you were labeled heartless, racist, or cruel. But comedy has a magic shield. A joke can walk where logic is banned. And Rock and Kimmel walk straight through the minefield with smiles on their faces. Suddenly, people weren't whispering anymore. They were laughing out loud, and that laughter was brutal. Because laughter doesn't argue, it decides. Late night monologues became open season. Talk shows started slipping in jokes. Panel discussions stopped tiptoeing. Even people who once defended Meghan and Harry began hedging, adding little qualifiers like, well, maybe they did overshare, or perhaps the constant interviews send mixed signals. That's how it starts. Soft cracks, then fractures, then collapse. And let's talk about that contradiction everyone finally clocked. Privacy. The word that became their shield and their biggest punchline. They wanted privacy while signing massive Netflix deals. Privacy while releasing a multi-episode documentary. Privacy while dropping a memoir stuffed with bedroom details and family fights. At some point, the math just stopped mathing, and comedians, the natural predators of hypocrisy, smelled blood. Jimmy Kimmel kept hammering the point. Night after night, he framed Harry not as a tragic exile, but as a prince who discovered that complaining pays very well. The jokes weren't cruel, they were accurate, and accuracy is far more dangerous than insults. Then came the moment when even mainstream media couldn't ignore the shift. Polls started changing. Approval ratings dipped, especially in America, the very place that was supposed to be their safe haven. The same audiences who once applauded their escape story now rolled their eyes when their names came up. And notice something crucial: there was no cancellation backlash, no massive outrage campaigns, no industry-wide apologies, no serious consequences for Rock or Kimmel. Why? Because the jokes landed on already prepared ground. People had reached the conclusion before the punchlines arrived. Comedy just made it official. This is the part that hurts the most if you're Meghan Markle. When ridicule replaces defense, the narrative is gone. When audiences laugh instead of arguing, you've lost control of the story. You're no longer the author, you're the subject. And Hollywood noticed. Projects quietly stalled. Deals stopped sounding so enthusiastic. Headlines shifted from admiration to skepticism. Overexposed became the polite word of choice. Insiders started murmuring about brand fatigue. The excitement evaporated, replaced by something colder, indifference mixed with mockery. That's a lethal combo. Because outrage can be fought. Indifference cannot. Chris Rock said it best without ever naming her directly: everyone wants to be a victim now. Victimhood became currency, the fastest way to attention. And suddenly, Meghan and Harry weren't unique anymore. They were part of a trend people were tired of. And when Rock delivered that line about everyone claiming to be wounded while real victims get ignored, the room didn't just laugh. It agreed. That agreement echoed far beyond the theater walls. From that moment on, Meghan Markle wasn't untouchable royalty. She was fair game. And once that switch flips, it never flips back. Every past interview got rewatched with new eyes. Every emotional moment reinterpreted. Every tear scrutinized. The spell broke. The fairy tale didn't just end, it got audited. Hollywood, the same machine that once amplified her voice, quietly stepped back. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to let the silence speak. And here's the coldest truth of all. None of this required a scandal. No leaked tapes, no criminal charges, no shocking expos, just jokes. Just laughter. Just the slow realization that the emperor's clothes looked suspiciously thin. Chris Rock and Jimmy Kimmel didn't need to destroy Meghan Markle. They just held up a mirror, and millions of people didn't like what they saw. The real damage wasn't done on stage. It happened afterward, in living rooms, on phones, in comment sections, in that quiet moment when someone says, you know what, I'm kind of over them. That's the moment relevance dies. And now, Meghan and Harry stand in a strange place, still famous, still wealthy, but no longer protected, no longer immune, no longer believed without question. The magic is gone. The mystique evaporated. And once comedy turns you into a recurring punchline, your image is no longer yours to control. This wasn't just a roast. It was a verdict. And Hollywood has moved on. If you want, say the word and I'll polish this into maximum YouTube retention pacing, tighten the cliffhanger ending, or add a nuclear final 30-second outro designed to spike watch time. Designed to spike watch time. Designed to spike watch time.